Welcome to the How to Ride a Stand-Up video. If you're new to stand-ups, you're in the right place. So the essentials that you're going to need to ride a stand-up is going to be a lanyard. If you're on a public lake, you'll need a whistle and a fire extinguisher. Also, you'll need a life vest. And optional things that I highly recommend are going to be gloves. So the gloves are going to give you better grip, especially once your hands get wet. And as well as shoes. These are Asics wrestling shoes. I prefer them just because they provide great ankle support, as well as give you the ability to still feel the tray and move around and have a lot of heel and toe motion. Today we've got the 4-stroke Superjet, so it's going to be our little training tool. It doesn't matter what ski you have, anything from a 550 to a square nose Superjet, SXR 800, SXR 1500, whatever you got. All these tips will help you learn how to ride a stand-up jet ski. Standing, you can drown the back of the tray, put your knee in, or if you're a smaller person, a lighter person, or have a bigger tray, you can drown it and just hop in like that. That is also another way to do it if your ski is very stable. Now, a lot of skis do have smaller trays, so you probably will be only able to get one knee in. So let's go like this. Once you go to start, give it a little throttle, and you will be on your way. That'll give you more stability as you start to go with more throttle. A little bit of throttle will keep the ski from being so teetery and be more stable. Okay, so now we'll go ahead and do a deep water start. So this is going to be one of the more common starts that you do because you will inevitably fall off. I'm going to have a lot of footage of me riding a stand-up for the first time, and it feels like all I did was fall. So one of the best ways to get in the tray, if you have enough space, is just to drown the back of the ski, push it down, and get 1 or 2 knees in. Even if you just do one, which is one of my favorite preferences, you just keep your other leg out, make sure that you're out of the way of the pump, and you can start it. So give it a little throttle, and you can pull yourself into the tray like so. So say you have a smaller ski and you're not able to fully get your knee into the tray. So when I first learned how to ride, I was learning on an SXR 800, and it had a huge tray wedge in the back. So it was very difficult to get in. So what I would do is I would push myself in, I'd get my elbows. So you can either do that from the back, or you can use the side here from out. So you go like this, put your elbows in, and just kind of inch your way in, right? And you can get your arms up onto the bars with your legs back here. Start it. And like I said, if this is a type of ski where you can't get your legs into the tray, what you'll do is you can hold on to the bars, or you can let go of the bars and pop yourself in. So kind of do like a butterfly kick and get 1 or 2 knees in the tray. Okay, so now you've made it into the tray, whether it's a shallow water or deep water start, and you're going. So I spent a lot of time on my knees just trying to figure out the ski. The biggest thing on stand-ups is balance. They don't generally float while you're standing in them, so that makes it difficult. So when you're first learning, you can get comfortable. If you can't get both knees in the tray, but you still want to stay low, you can trail your back leg, so just kind of center your knee in there, and you can kind of steer around. Now I know this may feel awkward, but if you've never stood in a stand-up, this is a great place to start. So just kind of steer around, give it some throttle. You'll kind of learn like how it feels. So when you're ready to start standing up, you can take your dominant foot, give it a little bit of throttle, and stand up. So throttle is your friend when it comes to standing, because the slower you go, the more tippy the ski is going to be. Enough to where the ski is floating and going on its own, and it feels stable without you really having to, balance a lot. So we'll show that again. So when you're ready to stand up, bring your leg forward, give it a little throttle, and stand. Much more stable than doing it very slow. And I know you're probably going to want to do it slow, but throttle is your friend. When you're trying to turn and you're going really slow, the ski's not going to want to turn. It doesn't have enough pump pressure to really steer you, and it's going to be unstable because it's just basically trying to float with you on it. So now that you're going in a straight line, say you start, you cut the throttle or you start feeling wobbly, just drop down into the tray. That's why I like the split stance in this case, is that you can just drop straight down into the tray and hold on. So you can get back up and try again. So with the stand-ups, getting your center of gravity lower is key. So when you're standing up real tall, the ski is going to really want to teeter around. So if you can split your stance like this, bend your knees and get lower, that's going to help you not be so teetery. So always be light on the bars. You don't want the death grip on the bars, and you also don't want to be tucking in your elbows like so, because that doesn't give you any control. You start getting wobbly and holding on to it like a death grip. Keep your elbows loose, your arms loose, your shoulders up, and your elbows out. Kind of like the attack stance on a motocross bike. You can also too, so you can go from a standing position to keep your center of gravity lower. You can push up and stand and hold on to the bars and steer like this. So that'll naturally keep your center of gravity lower. And then you can go to a standing position. Now this is not a split stance, this is a good cruising spot right here. So you can put your feet together, and if you're having like what's called porpoising problems, if you're like a taller person or your ski's smaller, you're gonna have to get farther forward. If you're stable enough to stand, this is a lot easier on your lower back. But if you're just learning, this may be still a little bit teetery. One of the examples I like to use is you're like a flagpole. So this, you're just like a flagpole standing up straight. You don't have any, guides on you, so it's easy for you to tip over, and it's easier for you to just fall off because you don't know how to correct yet. So when you have the split stance, it's like the guy wires on a flagpole or, anything tall. You have more points of contact with the ski. So not only are you going to be going forward and backward, it's going to be going side to side. So I like to have my foot planted like this so it controls side to side, where this one is forward and back. Because when you let go of the throttle, you'll want to go forward. If you gun the throttle, you'll want to go back. So this kind of stance, whether you're going this way or this way, whichever foot is dominant and whichever you prefer, it keeps you more stable. Now you can see that my knees are crouched, so it is harder and it takes more effort, but it gets your center of gravity lower. You can stay light on the pole, so give it a little throttle. And as you go to initiate a turn, so we're going to go to the left here, you've got your split stance, you're lower in the tray, light on the bars, you give it a little throttle, look towards where you want to turn, and turn. Okay? So you say you complete a successful left turn, so you can change your feet by putting both in the back and stepping forward. Alright, so you're going in a straight line, you've got enough throttle to where it's not too teetery. So look into the turn, lean, use your shoulder and elbow, turn, and give it some throttle. There you go. And that's basically it. So what you're doing is it's a formula between your center of gravity being low, your feet being planted, knees bent, arms loose, and just feeling the ski, giving it throttle as you feel comfortable. Now, once you start going faster, you'll be getting lower in the tray and farther out. So I'll put some shots in of us riding a buoy course, and you can see how low and out our center of gravity is. As you go faster, the lower you're going to get and the more out you're going to get. Now, it does kind of change when you get into choppy water. You can't get way out, because the ski is just going to blow out from under you. But say we're in prime conditions, it's nice and flat. When you start to get the hang of turning and you want to get more speed, so you put your foot in that stance, look where you're going, give it some throttle, turn the bars, keep light on the pole, no death grip, squat down. And you can see how this foot is moving as I'm going over the waves, and this one leans into the tray. So we'll do it on a right turn. So get low, get your center of gravity towards where you want to turn. So right hand, my lower half is sticking out this way. You're going to give it some throttle. You're going to lean into the turn. And you use your legs like shock absorbers. One of the things that people ask is like toe side turning. And you can, some people don't change their stance, right? So you see I'm doing toe side. But what's bad about that is when you're going faster, you can see that my center of gravity is on the outside of the turn, not the inside. So my center of gravity is way high, and it's wanting to tip the ski. So that's why I always like to do heel side to where your center of gravity is on the inside of the turn. So you got it inside of the turn. Once you get used to it, switching feet is really not that hard. I know a lot of people are not used to it just because they've kind of, you know, ridden in a certain way, just kind of like snowboarding or wakeboarding. You know, you stay in one way and you go and you can carve. And you can certainly do that, especially if you're playing around. But if you're not wanting to go fast and do buoy riding, the best way to get low and your center of gravity low and be able to turn harder is to have your center of gravity lower and in towards the turn. So that's going to be heel side turning. Low. See my elbows up. Into the turn. Right hander. Switch feet. Elbow up. Oh, there we got a slide there. That will happen. So that often happens when you're not loading the pump. Some skis just slide way easier than others. But when I initiate a turn, you're going to go your front foot, weight it, and as you go through the turn, put more on your back leg. So that's going to weight the pump so you get good traction. And that also just comes with time. I still fall off, I still slide. Just getting used to how your ski behaves, getting some aftermarket parts, ride plate intake grate, sponsons, shorter pole, all that stuff helps. Also having a tray wedge at the back, as you can see, that helps a lot. You don't blow your foot out, especially when you're trying to weight the pump, weight the back end of the ski. It really helps to have that kicker there. And with the front hump on this one in particular, not all skis have this, I just like it because it helps you find your corner really fast. So when you're racing or you're just turning corners really fast, boom, you've got it. And you can kind of press against it and have a little bit more foot traction. That's also why I like these Asics wrestling shoes, is they give you a lot of foot action. Now if you're just cruising, standing like this is great, or a little bit of more advanced tip, when you want to go hop waves, you'll be in a, you'll have your feet together at the back, so you can preload the back of the ski and pop. So if you see a wave coming, you can just step back, you go preload, like that. So it's a lot harder to do it like this because your weight's going to be more forward. So split stance is really good for being aggressive and turning. And then feet together, great for just cruising around, or if you want to kind of play. Got a teensy wake coming up here, so I like being on the back so where I can really load the ride plate in the back of the ski. You're gonna do a pre-blip, so you go up, blip. There you go. So it works really well when you're at the back of the ski and you put your toes into the side, you can pick up the back of the ski too. So preload, hop, and push down, kind of like you're doing a bunny hop on a bicycle. And if you fall off, if you're going slow, try to hold on to the ski. It's a lot easier to hold on to the ski and not have to swim to it. Now, if you're going fast, you don't want to pull your shoulder out or hurt yourself. So, you know, that's also a thing that you kind of get used to. Slide, slide. Oh, my pants are coming off. All right, let's see if I can get these back on. All right, that's a great example of if you hold on, you don't have to go swimming for the ski, but your pants may come off. Yeah, once again, the basics of riding a stand-up. So you've got your two different types of starts. Get used to deep water starting, because if you fall off, which you most certainly will, I fell off a lot when I was learning. Get used to your deep water starts and just practice turning. Turn both ways, have your split stance, get lower in the tray, light on the bars, give it throttle, look where you're going, and turn. And it just really comes down to balance. And if you feel too teetery, drop down in the tray. That sometimes will help you from, I call it like the death, like your ski starts to tip and then you keep tipping and then you can't save it. Sometimes you can save it by steering into the tip, but a lot of times when you're learning, you just fall off, and that's okay. But just keep riding. It takes, you know, you're in the right place, you're watching these videos, get out there and put some hours on the ski.